Coming up, new clues in the Gilgo Beach murders, the 911 calls that police hope provide them with new answers in the cold case.
Timing out those showers this evening and taking a look at that fog developing again by morning.
And gentrification in Brooklyn, the photographer capturing the people and places in his neighborhood before life changes forever. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Kay Ingram and this is News for Now for May 13th. Now first up, for the first time ever, we're getting a listen of the 911 calls made 12 years ago that would launch the investigation into the Gilgo Beach killer mystery known today. Suffolk County Police are hoping the release of the calls will bring them closer to finding the killer. 3 911 calls were made the night Shannan Gilbert disappeared. One of the calls from her calling police, fearing for her life that night back in May of 2010. The search for her eventually led to the discovery of 10 total victims.
No, stop, no. Where in the land are you? Suffolk County? Nassau County? Huh? Oh. All right. They told me to go to the meeting. Why? County online? Stop. Please. Stop it, please. Please stop. Please, can you turn it off? Please. Please. No, please. Please. Why?
Police Commissioner Rodney Harrison has vowed to solve the Gilgo Beach murders since he was sworn in back in January. Also new, police are looking for the man they say attacked a Bronx mom in the middle of the day while she was with her 4-year-old son. Police say they were walking on Grand Concourse last Wednesday when the man snuck up behind them, grabbed the mom's hair, and dragged her and the boy to the ground before taking off with her $6,500 chain. He then took off on a moped. Both the mom and little boy are okay. Drivers in Astoria, Queens got an unpleasant surprise when a building under demolition collapsed. People in the area say they heard a loud crash and ran outside. They found their cars covered in bricks and debris after the roof and wall of a vacant building crashed down on 31st Drive and Vernon Boulevard. Luckily though, nobody was hurt.
Hi there, I'm Storm Team 4 meteorologist Maria LaRosa, and a pretty gray, drizzly kind of day and still a chance for showers even as we head into the evening hours. Notice the Hudson Valley still hanging on to some of the clear skies, at least a little bit. Overnight tonight, still the flow off from the southeast, keeping that low-level moisture. That means low-level clouds, some drizzle, and yes, even some fog, as we'll see that develop again into the morning hours. Pretty widespread and pretty dense. So if you do have some travel plans early on, that is definitely enough to slow you down. Temperature-wise, it remains mild for some nearly steady temps overnight. 62 for the low in the city, will be in the mid-50s from Islip and Bridgeport, near 60 in Poughkeepsie, down the shore into the mid-50s. Northwest New Jersey also in the low 60s.
All right, guys, I had to sit down for this next one because it's real serious. I'm talking about a topic that is hot and spicy here in New York City: gentrification. And NBCLX caught up with one photographer that's capturing this changing landscape. Check it out.
1, 2, 3. Perfect. If I see a really good moment, I'm like, I need to get this shot. This is a shot that I need. I'm just like, hey, excuse me, my name is Dominic. I'm working on a project right now called Document Brooklyn. And in this project, I'm pretty much documenting neighborhoods of Brooklyn as it is before it changes. And usually people are like, oh yeah, I love that. For example, this portrait here of this man here with the beard, I remember I talked to him and he was very excited for it. He's like, yeah, I'm a part of the history. And it was like perfect because he had this perfect smile, and getting that presence, like it kind of immortalizes him, like he's there forever now. And he's a part of that neighborhood. My name is Dominic Lewis and I'm an artist and photographer from Brooklyn, New York. I started a project Document Brooklyn when I first moved back to Brooklyn in 2017. Now in 2022, it's kind of become more specific on certain topics, one thing being gentrification. So one thing that I've been doing is documenting certain neighborhoods of Brooklyn as they change and as they, become what they are. I'm from a neighborhood called Flatbush, East Flatbush, Brooklyn, and even that neighborhood, it's right on the cusp of change. I mean, Brooklyn in general is gonna keep changing. I tend to photograph like anything I can find that's like for sale or different, and it's crazy because some of these places go up so fast that like I'll photograph it when it's in the current state of it, and then I'll come back when it starts, like they demolished it, I photographed it again while it was demolished, and I came back and photographed it, started building a new building, then I photographed it like again when the building was a wreck. So I've definitely seen these like apartments go up in like a year or less. You'll see a lot of physical buildings spring up in the middle of neighborhoods that are already neighborhoods, and a lot of it doesn't really fit, and I feel like it really takes away from the character of some of these neighborhoods and kind of makes it more just like generic. Certain neighborhoods, like there's no longer that sense of community in those neighborhoods. Like when I was growing up in the neighborhood that I'm from on 37th Street, I knew every single person on the entire block, but I feel like that's kind of being lost as neighborhoods become more just like modern day dorms. It's very surreal to see it change before your eyes, but it's really cool to be able to have the ability to document it while it is. You don't feel like you're crazy, you feel like low-key, because sometimes people are like, yo, this was like this before, and you're like, oh, okay. But if you can show someone it, it's just like having that like evidence, it's proof. So it's very important to like have this imagery for something that's like for future generations and for people to see, instead of it being just like something that's just like here and there, like oh, I'm posting this image, I hope I get 100 likes from it. I feel like it's like some of my purpose to document, because I have this ability to do this. So I feel like my value for it is like it's historical. Like it's not for me, it's for the next generation. It's like for someone else to see later on, because this project is gonna be forever.
And finally, there is a city animal shelter that's sending out a warning to pet owners. Apparently, they're having an uptick in cases where dogs are having pneumonia. So they want folks to beware. News 4's Mark Santia has a story from East Harlem.
Come on, baby. Vets on high alert tonight at a Harlem animal shelter. 4 dogs sick with pneumonia. The staff worried about it spreading.
We have a number of dogs infected that have pneumonia. We have a number of dogs that have routine upper respiratory disease that we're testing to see whether or not they are harboring this particular bacteria. And we have 4 dogs that have actually tested positive.
The team is testing and treating other dogs at an already overcrowded location.
We have 106 dogs in a shelter that should hold 70 to 75 dogs. So we have pretty massive overcrowding. And I think you can also imagine that shelter life is super stressful for dogs, and there is a very high correlation between stress and crowding and the incidence of disease. So it sets up sort of a perfect storm.
The ACC shelter in Harlem serves Manhattan residents. It is now closed to dogs coming into the facility. The ACC is pushing to get dogs out of the shelter and into homes, even waiving adoption fees to reduce overcrowding.
The best thing that we can do for these particular dogs is get them out of there, into healthy air, into a less stressful environment, into a home where they can heal.
The bacteria poses no threats to dogs at other ACC locations. Here in Harlem, all the dogs are being treated with medicine. Dr. Robin Brennan is reaching out to the public for help to clear the shelter.
Keeping them out of the shelter does 2 things. It protects them, number 1, but it also helps us start to draw down on our population. This isn't going to go away with 106 dogs remaining in our shelter. We need to get those dogs out.
Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
All right, friends, that's it for today's show. Thanks for checking in. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week on News 4 Now. See ya.